Come on.
Okay, well, a little background. The myth of Phaedra and Hippolytus is that Hippolytus is chaste and he's a follower of Diana, and he spurned Aphrodite, and therefore she cursed them by making his stepmother fall in love with him. Now, the letter is professing her love to Hippolytus before it's revealed to him, obviously, and the following disaster ensues where she accuses him of rape to Theseus before killing herself, which leads to Hippolytus' death.
How did Hippolytus die?
He's dragged to death by his chariots and he's dismembered.
So I addressed the second question. Does Ovid appear to be sympathetic? Specifically, is he a feminist writer, or does he criticize or mock Phaedra, or is she justified for her predicament? I believe that Ovid was not a feminist writer, but he is far more sympathetic than Seneca and the Point Euripides, where the background for the letter is drawn. He gives Phaedra dignity, but not sympathy, as the predicament is of her own design, as she is an older woman pining over her stepson, who is chaste and a follower of Diana. She appears to be more of an innocent, but turns by the end of the play to mock Hippolytus, and this is most determined by, in the quote near the end, saying, "A cruel man may change your mind. My mother made a bold desire for her, and are you fiercer than that?" Ovid leans more towards traditions of Roman Stoicism, and honor depicting Phaedra as the cause of her own problems.
So, excuse me, myself and Devin, we were going to go with part B, because we have so many people here. But he had a lot of points that were in mesh with mine, so I wanted to discuss a couple of things that I thought were a bit different. So as it pertained to the question of, does he paint females to be sympathetic? I had to think about it, Keith had brought up a very important point, is to think about how he was writing about them within the context of when he was writing about them and what he was writing about. My opinion was that he painted women in a realistic light, if you will. When I say realistic, I mean to say is that he gave voice to this particular woman in that it was uninhibited, it was unmuted. She stated every passion that she absolutely had, whether or not it was morally correct or incorrect. Anything like that was not in question for me. What was most important is that he painted her in a very truthful light as it pertained to the character itself. And insofar as him doing so, in my opinion, he painted her to be, in my opinion, he was sympathetic to the female in that it was complete truth. And I believe that this is actually, I don't have much background in classics or much background in historical literature, but this could possibly be, I know we spoke about Medea, but this could possibly be an individual that is one of the first, or gives rise to one of the first very, very powerful voices of females in literature. So that's the way that I consider the way he portrayed her.
Okay, so going with what he said, we chose some quotes from the play to demonstrate the female, her justifying her feelings, no matter how moral they are. I'm going to be reading Phaedra. She's going to be reading the nurse, and she's going to be reading Hippolytus. So, okay, Venus toys with us both, demonstrating her majesty as if we'd failed to acknowledge her deity's power. No daughter of Minos has ever found her burden easy to bear. My skin tingles with the shame and delight, and I am ashamed of that delight, but nevertheless, or all the more, delighted.
You must resist such thoughts. Do not give in, but think instead of who you are, the queen and wife to Theseus, Jove's illustrious son. Passion's a word to make monstrous sin seem almost domestic, or else to inflate it past all proportion. Fate is not the grand auteur of these affairs. They are merely errors of judgment, lapses of taste, and failures of character, or they begin that unimpressive way.
And I still know what shame is. I am a queen, and I still know what shame is. I see what I'm doing. My hopes is that I may hold the tether of the wild beast my heart has become. It drags, but I am strong, and can fight it, even to death, which beckons. I could follow my husband down to the underworld, which offers a sure cure.
And then when you are,
For the crimes of only a few, you blame us all.
So an apologist says, I detest you all, and fear and shun and curse you all, from reason or instinct, or in a rage that does not admit of explanation. I hate and despise all womankind, without exception. Sooner shall fire and water mingle, sooner shall ships have among the shifting surger sandbanks, soon shall we look out westward. Basically hates women. And then he says, but how would I know, infected as I am, corrupted myself as I must be, having provoked such a thing as my stepmother's lewd suggestion?
Okay, so I have part C, which is the poem or the love letter a typical love letter of the time period? And we said it's not a typical love letter because, first of all, the genders are reversed. It is a woman to a male. It does have a similar social status, but the biggest thing about it is that it's not supposed to be serious. It's essentially it's funny because we have this woman who's in love with her stepson, and it starts out very polite, and she says, she's very nice and cordial, and then it completely changes to justification. She tells this history of her ancestors and the bull, and essentially it turns into, well, I just fell into this, and so I have to essentially just follow what my ancestry has done. But the thing to consider in this one is that it really isn't meant to be serious. It's really supposed to be funny because it's mocking, I don't know how to describe it. It's mocking women in the sense of, they're falling in love with the topic of forbidden love, and it's kind of silly that you're falling in love with, your stepson, your family, and everything. But at the same time, as they showed, the writer, Ovid and everything, he's not as unforgettable with women than he is with other writers are, because they showed that what's it called? It's supposed to be, the other writers portray women as very whatever. You guys are stupid. Women are stupid. They're emotional, but this one, it's different because for the first time they're giving dignity to Phaedra, and she starts out very polite, and then she kind of mocks him by saying, my mother could pervert a bull, will you be fiercer than a savage beast? So she's kind of being a little savage on him in the grand scheme of things. So I definitely think it's not a typical love letter, and I think he's definitely giving Phaedra and women particularly a little bit of dignity in this poem.
One last note is the fact that in the context of the play by Euripides, what seals Hippolytus' fate is a letter that she leaves on her corpse that falsely accuses him of rape. And I think it's interesting because this is in the form of a letter that's particularly damning to her, because of, this is her revelation of her love for Hippolytus. So in turn, she has to write a letter that absolves herself of this crime.